You could call it just a misunderstanding, but Frank's decided to take a job he doesn't really want, and Cass is losing a very valuable employee. It's all too possible, even when the people involved have the best intentions. And worst of all, these people may never know there was a misunderstanding. How does it happen? And why is it so hard to avoid? Dr. Carl Rogers explains.
I think that one of the commonest reasons for misunderstanding is that individuals tend to see things from their own perspective. So if you tell me something, I tend to see that subject from my point of view, not from yours.
Now, as far as media planning is concerned, Chicago has somebody up there who's worked on the Hanscom campaign and the Spaulding thing in Louisiana. Her name is Jean Peterson. Did you ever meet her?
No, I don't think so.
Well, they really think she knows her stuff.
And they want to send her down here?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's up to us, but I don't have any objection. We can always use good people, right?
I may be starting from different assumptions, different values, and so I hear and understand what you said in a way quite different from what you intended and what you meant.
Come on, what did he say?
Well, he said I'd done a hell of a job. Yeah. So good, in fact, the Chicago office wants to send down a media planner to make sure I don't screw it up.
You're kidding.
Well, yes. And no. I mean, those weren't their exact words, but that's the general message.
We are all of us taught by our culture to immediately make judgments. We are a judgment-oriented culture, and so that leads to a lot of miscommunication because I decide you are such and such, therefore I won't listen to you, or therefore you're mistaken.
And so, misunderstandings often result from two natural tendencies. First, our tendency to make judgments about people and their intentions. And second, our tendency to base judgments of other people's actions on our own point of view.
Look, how's Peterson working out?
When emotions are heavily involved, if someone's feeling insecure or threatened, for example, people rarely see things the same way. Yet that's also the time when it's hardest to talk openly, to compare views or share feelings.
You know how Chicago is. They want the best at every level of the company. You either produce or you pack it in.
For these reasons, the most serious misunderstandings often go undetected. The only signs are subtle ones.
You want to run through it once or what?
Yeah, might as well.
Well, let's roll the tape anyway. Sometimes the first take is the best take.
You heard the lady, Bob. Roll 'em.
A certain tone of voice, a gesture, a look, these can tell a good manager that a misunderstanding may be brewing. And since differing views of the same situation are so often the cause, the misunderstanding may be resolved if those views are aired. But the tendency to judge and the fear of being judged make that difficult. It takes sensitivity, courage, and what Carl Rogers calls an empathic attitude, a new, active approach to listening for understanding.
Coffee down this way?
Yeah.
Everything okay?
Fine. Fine.
Say, why don't you and I sneak off and grab a bite together, huh? I'll tell Doug to grab the others and he can put them on his account for a change.
What's up?
Well, nothing. I've been too busy to sit down and find out how things are with you, that's all. How about it?
Sure.
So, the copy for the spots has you worried, huh?
Yeah, some. Celia's doing the best she can, but I just keep getting the feeling we're not firing on all cylinders.
Team isn't working the way it used to somehow?
Right. Of course, it wouldn't. Not with a new person. Not right away. But still.
Jean isn't getting along with you the way she should by now, is that it?
No, it's nothing like that. She's perfectly pleasant. Oscar and Celia like her. She's got a lot of ideas. She's even taught me a thing or two. It's just that sometimes when she takes off with one of those ideas, I get the feeling she's in charge and I'm, well,
Fifth wheel?
Right. And then I think, well, that's what the Chicago office had in mind. After all, I've never done anything like this before. Politics just isn't the same as tires, and they're bound to be a little nervous.
You feel that Chicago trusts her more than they trust you?
Well, first they send her down here without really consulting me, and then Doug turns up at the recording session. When was the last time anybody from Chicago did that?
And that makes you nervous?
You're damn right it makes me nervous. How do I know they haven't already decided to go with Jean after the primary? I mean, she's got the experience, she's got the Chicago office behind her. Copeland likes her. How can I fight those odds? How could anybody?
Look, Frank, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as Chicago is concerned, too, this is your project. It's yours now, and it's going to be yours after the primary. Jean Peterson was brought in here for two reasons. One, to help you out, and two, to get some very valuable experience, which she's getting working with you. Now, if Chicago has any other ideas, let me deal with them. I'll take care of Chicago, you take care of the campaign, okay?
Okay. Well, we better eat this and get out of here. I want to get back and talk to Jean about those productivity spots.
The same cast of characters, but a very different ending. As Dr. Rogers explains, the key is a genuine effort to understand another person's world without judging it.
Often the understanding that really makes for productive communication is a very sensitive empathy, a very sensitive listening attitude, a willingness to really see the world from the other person's point of view.
Jean isn't getting along with you the way she should by now, is that it?
No, it's nothing like that. She's perfectly pleasant. Oscar and Celia like her.
It requires a certain amount of courage in the willingness to lay aside one's own assumptions and prejudices and hear and understand from within attitudes which may not be your own.
I get the feeling she's in charge, and I'm, well...
Fifth wheel.
Right.
It is partly a skill, but it is much more an attitude. It gradually becomes a way of being. The best way I can describe it is to let myself go into that person and sense it the way he's sensing it or she's sensing it. And then to from time to time, check that sensing to see if it's accurate.
And that makes you nervous.
You're damn right it makes me nervous.
Each of us lives in a world of largely of our own creation. It's surprising the extent to which we do create our own psychological world. And if we could accept that as a base and realize that a lot of good could come for me and for you, if I can understand how your world differs from mine, then I might change my worldview somewhat, and at least I would be in real communication with you. And if I could be in real communication with you without judging you, that's the most helpful attitude. That's one thing I haven't spoken of much, and it's very important. That if I not only can hear and sense your world as it is, but can do that without judging it, that is, that's a rare experience in anyone's life, and a very precious experience. And people grow from that, to find that someone can understand them and understand what their world is like and not immediately make a judgment about it.